Well, good evening. Good evening on this 14th of the 9th, 2023, which is Thursday evening, and another night of In Review and What is Your News. My name is Sylbourne Sydial, hailing all the way from London, UK. And yeah, thank you. Thank God. We thank God for another day. Thank God for another Thursday. And thank God for the opportunity that we can actually come together again and to have a discussion as to what is your news. There's so many different things which are happening in the news, ladies and gentlemen, and I always believe that it's very important that we share a level of perspective as to what it is. And tonight I'm going to be joined by Resident Garry Graham and also by Mr. Thinky Planet Do It Now. And interesting thing about Thinky Planet Do It Now, because we were looking at a video of two former prime ministers, and they got together into a fist fight, and it was a perfect example. It was a perfect example of Thinking Planet Do It Now. They just got together and just hit it face to face. You know what I mean? Let me just bring in uh, Anthony, Mr. Thinking Planet Do It Now. what happened there?
Yeah, good evening, Sylbourne.
Good evening. Good evening.
Not the Think It Planet Do It Now mantra that I would hope that people would be adopting in Parliament, to be having fisticuffs, but you know they clearly didn't want to do it later. They wanted to do it now.
So therefore, your concept of Think It Planet Do It Now is simply that Think It Planet Do It Now. So they just get it done.
Well, clearly they took that literally, and they got it done right there and then in Parliament. But, as I say, I mean, my motto is it's for a different activity completely. But if they want to take the activity to heart and they want to do it now, then by all means, as long as it doesn't affect anybody else and they're only affecting themselves.
Garry, are you ready? Let me see. Thumbs up, Garry. I don't know. Hey, Garry, how are you?
I'm all right, man. It looks like I have to be ready. You ask me the question and put me on the same time. So.
Well, tonight is Thinking Planet Do It Now. We don't play around. We don't wait around, and we just get things done. We don't think too hard. You know what I mean?
How you doing, Anthony?
Hey, good to see you, Garry, sir. Good to see you again. Been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while, man. I think you keep evading me, man. It looks like you don't want to come on here when I want it at all.
Don't be silly, man. Don't be silly. Sylbourne doesn't invite me anymore.
Only when there's a crisis. When there's a crisis. And welcome to Mr. IC3 Black Reparation Nation. Greeting those on TikTok as well. That is something we're going to talk about different issues tonight. But and in a role, we're going to talk on this issue that happened with the hair developments down in Peckham there as well. But looking at the bigger picture of it, but I think firstly I wanted to look at, it's like there's Gary. They always say in the end days are going to be wars, rumors of war, flooding, and earthquakes, and everything like that. We saw firstly something which took place in Turkey, you know, and Turkey was earthquake, and which was very devastating. And then after that we had Libya.
Libya. I'm telling you, Sylbourne, Anthony, I could not believe. Now I've seen devastation, not firsthand, obviously, but when I'm saying on television, with Lebanon, with Somalia, various African countries and such. But when I saw Libya with what the water or the flood did there, I couldn't believe it. I mean, I was just confounded. I can't describe it. I can't. And the thing about it, each catastrophe is not the same. I understand that, and I will, I will say, well, what's happened in Ukraine, or what may have happened, in Morocco. That's another thing which is sad, and that is a devastation in and of itself, by itself. But when I saw Libya, I couldn't. That took my breath away. It did. It really did. I mean, I couldn't believe that water. I mean, it's happened here in the UK where, businesses have been affected, homes have been inundated with water, people losing their belongings and possessions. That's one thing. But you can't compare the UK with what happened here with what happened in Libya. It just took my breath away, really. I don't know what Anthony would if.
Well, I think, to be honest, Gary, I think you've echoed a lot of people's sentiments. When you watch these things, on TV, I mean, obviously we're watching it here in the comfort of our homes, and we're grateful that we're not actually in those locations, because the devastation is, quite frankly, without precedent. And all we can do is send our thoughts and prayers to these people. But the reality is that tens of thousands of millions of people will be displaced. They've lost their homes, their livelihoods, their families, and these are natural disasters that none of us can foresee. But equally, we perhaps have been warned through things like climate change what might happen if we let the climate reach certain temperatures. Whether or not this is attributable to climate change, it's open for debate. I'm not a scientist, but certainly we're seeing more and more of these types of events unfold, weekly events. So I think we have to sort of draw some conclusion that they must be related to the increase in the temperature that we're now seeing as part of climate change.
Yeah, because what they said that the death toll from the earthquake in southeastern Turkey near the Syria border could rise to eightfold, and the toll, which currently stands at more than 3,400 people, has increased rapidly since the first earthquake struck early on Monday morning. But one of the things that always happens, I I think we're going to back on this whole issue regarding this world as a global place, because definitely, without a doubt, you're going to see people trying to get away from the devastation of their homes to find greener pastures, and that greener pastures will be places like the UK, Europe. Don't we see that unfolding as well?
Well, it's inevitable. If somebody's been displaced and there isn't the infrastructure, there isn't the environment for them to actually then live. I mean, if you're in Libya or if you're in Turkey right now, or Ukraine, for want of another country where you've got all of this activity going on, you know, it's inevitable that people will want to find shelter to look after their families, etc. And you know, Europe has to also be an open door to some respect. You know, they can't suddenly just simply offer humanitarian efforts and simply, when people are looking for shelter, say, well, you can't come here. Admittedly, places like the UK cannot be overwhelmed by people coming in from these different areas who are seeking refuge, because our own infrastructure cannot support things indefinitely. We have to be realistic, but at the same time, we have to show some humanity, and where we can, we need to take people in. But I think it has to be done collaboratively across the board within Europe, and recognize that, you know, these events are taking place on, you know, on an unprecedented scale, and that the individuals who are being displaced do need support.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, most
Yeah,
definitely.
that's true.
But
True.
someone just asked a question. I'll just put it. Does the panel think that some disasters are man-made by weather control technology? Because, you know, there's so many things going on. When they show, somebody was showing the other day that you saw some white cloud in the air with planes. One was straight and another one was very misty. Any thoughts on that? Just as someone, Mr. Reparation, asked that question. Do you think, or that is just conspiracy?
Well, personally, I think it's conspiracy. I mean, you know, you know, but then again, you know, you could turn around to Garry, who's obviously a man of the cloth, and you could sort of say, well, hang on, I mean, these things are act of God, and you know, I mean, let's face it, the insurance companies don't pay out on act of God claims, so.
No, I am with you, my friend. I'm with you. I believe that. I don't
Well,
think
with Reparation or Garry?
No, I agree with my learned colleague Anthony Francis.
Yeah.
In that I don't believe in conspiracies as such, albeit there is an organization in the United States that they say that DARPA it is DARPA, isn't it? That that has some technologies that can manipulate climate. Now, okay, I don't have the figures, I don't have the data, I cannot speak with any surety that it's them or it's not them. But what my learned colleague has already has alluded to, I do believe to some extent that I will turn to my good book. That my good book has informed me that a lot of these things will happen. It's going to take place. Now we've got scientists, we've got, you know, such who will say, well, it's down to the CO2 in the air, it's down to global warming, it's down to what men are doing in regards to allowing the temperature of the earth to rise, and so it needs to be cooled down and such. Okay, they've got their data, they've got the reasons why they say what they say. However, when I listen to other scientists, I have heard people say, and even the director, I don't know if Anthony has listened or has heard what the director, I think, for Greenpeace has said. But from what they're saying is that it's a natural thing, that CO2 again is very important and essential to life. And when they are saying that CO2, there's too much in the air, and we need to have less CO2, and we are harming everything else that for life to essentially continue. So I'm not necessarily bought out on the climate change activists. I don't really believe wholeheartedly that climate has anything, or is it the climate have anything to do, or we have anything to do with it? Because I just think it's a natural course of events.
So
But I
what?
do
So what?
believe anyway,
Yeah.
the Bible does say that whatever is going to happen is going to happen. So
So
we
what?
can't stop
Yeah.
that.
So what you're saying? We're in the end days, or this is the world. This is the earth. On its final leg. If anything.
Well, Matthew 24, I'm not going to read it. I'll just put it out there for others to read. The Lord does say that certain things is going to happen, and it doesn't really matter what we try to do. I mean, I'd like to put it out there also, and I'm not going to harbor on about the Bible, but I'm just going to say this.
Mm.
When you read Revelation and certain chapters of Revelation, it talks about, especially with the seven seals. No, yes, the seven seals and the seven vials or bowls that are going to be poured out upon the earth during those times.
Yeah.
Again, I am not saying that it's happening now. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just referring to those chapters because of what the chapters say is going to happen. Now, when those things actually happen, which of course refers to weather, it refers to what the sun is going to do, what the waters are going to be like, what is going to break out upon mankind. When that actually begins to happen, are we then going to be saying that it's climate change? Because
Mm.
obviously, that won't be climatic change or due to climatic change. It's due to the judgment of God on man.
Mm.
So we have to be careful. And as Christians, and as a Christian, let me say, as a Christian, I have
Yeah.
to be careful what I say and what I am
For sure.
attaching these things to, because the Bible already tells us what is going to happen, and it won't be due to climatic conditions
Mm.
or what in that sense.
Okay. All right. Well, we wish the persons in I know I'm getting that feedback. I'm just muted for a second, Gary. Yeah. Well, we just wish the persons in Turkey and Libya all the best. And there's a lot of people. I saw a guy the other day, and he lost his son, and he found his son, and he just was just
Yeah.
getting mad with everybody and just said, "Listen, leave him alone, leave him alone. Let me just bury him." And that's a sad occasion there. I've never been through a major disaster except Hurricane Gilbert in Jamaica. you know all I was concerned about was my turntable set at that point. That's all I was protecting, my turntable set. But anyway, let's moving on. What's your news, Anthony? Have you got any sort of special news that? And then Gary, I'll ask you what's your news that you like to bring forward, if anything, before we
Well,
go on.
I mean, there's something that came to my attention this afternoon. It was I think it's the two young ladies who were um, sorry, not found guilty. They were forcibly, I think, arrested at the Everard incident, where they were obviously demonstrating regarding I think it was at the time it was the kidnapping of Sarah Everard by the policeman. And I think today they've been two individuals have actually been found that the police were unlawful, and they've been given a payout. I think that the reason why I bring this one up is clearly I think the incident that took place was horrific, but I think what I found a bit surprising was that the two ladies actually referenced their situation to actually being sexually assaulted. And one of the ladies, I think the lady that you have in the caption as well, also said that she would like the Metropolitan Police to be abolished. And it just made me suddenly think to myself, well, hang on a minute. I understand that the Metropolitan Police inadvertently arrested them, perhaps incorrectly, maybe due to guidelines they were following. But does it really warrant for the Metropolitan Police to be abolished? And was her being detained the same as someone who was being sexually assaulted? For her to make that sort of reference,
Yes.
that her situation was as bad as someone being sexually assaulted. All she was arrested for demonstrating. She wasn't in any way assaulted physically, in terms of sexually physically. She was just simply arrested and taken away. So I think, for me, the point I'm making here is that we see a lot of people who make references to things that they, I would say, don't really think through properly. So, for example, abolishing the Metropolitan Police. Well, if something was to happen to her in the future, who would she think was going to come to her rescue? Who would be the
first port of call, the first person that she calls, isn't it?
Well, it also reminds me, sadly, Sylbourne, of what's taking place now in America. There was a lady, a Democratic senator out there, I think it's Minnesota. She also called for the abolition of the police about 2 or 3 years ago. Fast forward 3 years, she got carjacked, and she was asking for the police to come and help her. I mean, you can't make this thing up. 1 minute she's calling for the police to be abolished. Next minute she's actually saying there wasn't enough police to come and rescue her when she was carjacked. So, you know, I really do sort of wonder at times, when people make these sort of statements, are they really thinking through what it is they're asking for, and what is this, and what is the alternative?
Yes, yes, and you know, this is like when we talk about a couple other things. Though the first thing that anybody call at each time is the police. People keep calling the police each time, and as you're right, the defunding of the police is something which America, the woke culture, is trying to do. But at the same time, anything happens, the first thing they ask for is the police. And now you wonder sometimes why there's not much police on the road sometimes.
Well, I mean, look, I mean, sorry to interrupt on Garry, but I mean, you know, you see it now taking place a little bit also in the UK. So, for example, Tesco, the Co-op, and other leading retailers, I mean, they're reporting, you know, upwards of nearly 1,000 incidences of theft each week in their stores. And the reason why they're reporting this is because the individuals or the perpetrators who are carrying these out, they recognize that there aren't going to be any police to come and stop them. The actual workers in the establishments, in the retail outlets, they're not going to challenge them because of their own personal safety. And these individuals know this. So what they're doing, they're casually walking into these stores, getting a basket or a trolley, and they're literally filling it up, and then walking out and saying, "Well, what are you going to do about it?" And there was a video recently of a man doing exactly that. He told the shopkeeper, "Listen, you've got insurance. Claim on that. There's nothing you can do."
No, but the thing about it, Anthony, and I'm glad that you brought this up, because I've been hearing and I've been keeping in touch with some of my colleagues there in the United States, and in particular to a state in the United States, such as California, where there are individuals. The law is that if somebody goes into a store, into whatever store, and just pick up stuff, that nothing will happen to them. And there are some businesses that at least 10% of the worth of stock that they have is being stolen each month, almost to each year. They're losing thousands. The police will not come out and press charges at all. They will not come, and they will not arrest, because it is felt in California that these businesses, as you said, what a gentleman said, can then go to their insurance company and claim. So things are going to get bad, Anthony. I mean, in a sense, things are going to get bad. And
well, to be honest, Garry, it's not going to get bad for the companies, because this is what's happened in Texas. And in fact, what's happened, for example, is that there's a few retail big outlets like Target, sorry, not Texas, Chicago. And because they've been looted so often, what they decided to do is to up sticks, close the business down, and take away their business. Now, the clowns who have done this and gone into the stores and have actually carried out the theft, what has happened now is that they've taken away a reputable business from that area. That business has also now taken its jobs away. The actual merchandise is that you could then buy from that store, you can no longer buy, so you've got to go further for it. It makes the community become a bit of a ghost town, and in fact, it makes their communities worse. So you've got to ask yourself, what are they actually doing? They're ruining their own communities for their own personal gain. It's ridiculous.
Well, I mean, what I have heard what businesses are doing in California is to put everything on the lock and key. So, okay, you can go into the shop, but you can't touch anything, or you can't unless the shop assistants
Well,
opens the cabinet or whatever is there for you to get there. The thing about it, I heard of one particular instance where they went into, they didn't go into the store. They were walking down the high street. They saw people running out of a store with arms full of clothes. They were just walking out, bags full of clothes. Now, they said they could understand it was food. But the thing about it wasn't food that they were taking. It was clothing. And to the extreme end, it was like they were coming out with mobile phones and gadgets and all kind of stuff, not food. So, when we hear of things happening there, they said when it's a flu, is it when it's flu in America, then it's a cold here, or when it's cold in America,
sneeze.
So things usually happen in the States first. Then when it is then exported out, it's worse than really what happens in America. And I shudder to think what's going to happen here in the UK when businesses are closing down for some reason or the other. But when businesses then begin to close down because they cannot stand and withstand the amount of pilferages is happening.
Yes. It's very interesting that you mentioned this because it's a good opportunity to go on to something which took place a couple of days ago or yesterday or so, and that is in Peckham. We have seen whereby there has been an altercation. I don't know if Garry, I know you're in Birmingham there, and I don't know if Birmingham is still a part of the UK or so. Um, you know, but what took place and what transpired was the young lady went into a Indian Asian shop to get a hair, or well, she wanted to get a refund. I got to understand that she wanted to get a refund, and apparently there was a no refund policy. And then she went apparently behind or in some section and grabbed the hair, you know. And now what she did was leaving, and then there was an altercation with she and the owner, and there's a fight. Yeah, put it that way. And there's a massive demonstration in front of the place. What Anthony was talking about a while ago was that if things go on like this, then people shut up their business, and then what happens?
Yeah, I
Well,
mean, go ahead, Anthony. Go ahead.
I mean, I think in that incident there, Sylbourne, you're right to highlight this incident. It's been on the national news and it's been on TV. And I think those businesses that operate in local communities, if there's a sort of a mentality that somebody has been wronged, and the first thing that they're going to do is to go to that particular premises and demand that they be closed down without really understanding what the facts were and looking into both sides of the story first to understand, well, what happened? Why did the individual react the way that they did? Why was that person behaving in that particular way in the store? Because let's face it, no one, no retail owner wants to treat their customers that way because they'll get a bad reputation. But clearly, what's happened, and I think you've been diplomatic by not stating the facts. This individual went into the shop to ask for a refund. The particular store had a no refund policy on hair products. as a consequence, the individual decided to actually take the product herself, I understand, and was going to walk out of the store. The owner, quite rightly in his defense, wanted the lady to not take the product because, you know, you can't just have someone walk in and leave. And so blocked the entrance, and then obviously an altercation took place. So, you know, I think I go back to what I said earlier. If all of these businesses that are in our communities, like Asian shops, of which we're quite dependent on, you know, we've all got an Asian shop at our end of our street, whatever. If these businesses decided to shut up shop and go elsewhere, what do we do? I mean, and you know, and is it right for individuals to be judge and jury and actually either demonstrate outside someone's premises, or for an individual who feels they've been wronged to simply walk into an establishment, take what they want and walk out? So I think we have to look at, you know, the whole picture and really sort of make sure that we're not, you know, jumping to conclusions without really understanding the full facts.
You know, no, that's a brilliant. Sorry, Gary, you want to say something, Gary?
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, you made a brilliant point there, Anthony, because you know, when I first saw the whole incident and I was looking at it, what you're seeing is just one video, one clip. And I said, I don't like to jump into these things, but I said, let me say something. But I said it in a very diplomatic way in the first instance. So, well, I haven't seen everything, but based on what I've seen, the guy shouldn't have really held her that much, you know. But I took it on another level by saying this is an opportunity then. If you're not happy with the business and you don't want to go into that business, well, create your own opportunity, create your own business. And if the hair industry, which is so-called the soul of the black woman, if anything, and if you're not happy, then create something. That is where I took it from, taking it away from the what should I say, the trench and because I mean, a lot of people are talking about racism, and I'm looking at it and say, I'm trying to work out the racism as well. I'm trying to work out the racism as well in regards to this, Gary. You know, and we got to be careful at the same time as a black community that we hold ourselves accountable, to these things. If somebody steals something, say they stole. Say it's a theft, intention to permanently deprive, whether they like it or not, you know. And as Anthony said, who would want to actually be on the face of the news manhandling a woman for your business place, you know?
Well, I think you see, we have to be careful on both sides. I agree with what Anthony says, and I agree with what Sylbourne has said. But that does not give a right for an individual to manhandle or to touch an individual. You know, if she had come, if she walked in, if the policy was no refund, and she went on, just take the details down. I mean, if she wants to rant and rave, you just you've got, or they must have had CCTV there. You make sure you've got the incident down, and you report it to the police. I know that things can get heated. I know that if it's your own business, that you can, you know, the blood, sweat, and tears that you've spent to build the business, you're emotionally attached to it. But that's where we need to control ourselves and not really manhandle the individual, because the clip that I saw that showed me that the hands of the individual around the neck, she's there fighting, she's throwing the bag, she's trying to kick him, you know, then he takes hold of her hands around her and puts it behind her back. Obviously, there was a struggle, but still, that does not, you know, that doesn't give any right for him then to manhandle a woman. And again, we can get all sorts of, we can then get into all sorts of difficulties of culture, of race, you know, and all of that. Which, of course, you know, we have to be careful what happens there and what is being said. But
yeah. Someone on TikTok said he would not treat his own like that though, and well, his own won't. And then somebody just respond, well, his own won't go into the shops doing that at the same time, you know.
Yeah, I think you have to be careful here. I mean, this is, you make some valid points, Gary, but you have to, but I think this is really what the crux of it is, that the individual cannot go into a person's place of business and actually act as if they are the law. So, this individual decided that they wanted to go into that person's store and they didn't like what the policy was, and they decided to actually take the garment themselves. Now, you say because it was a woman, you've got to be careful, manhandle. So does that mean that if it was a man, he could have actually then manhandled him? What happens if I want to go to the Mercedes dealership tomorrow and I do a test drive and then I just drive off with the car? What, are they not going to stop me because they've got a policy of letting me drive the car away? We can't adopt a policy whereby people can go in and act in an antisocial way or in a criminal way. If they, would that person have gone into Boots or Iceland or IKEA and just simply, if they didn't like the policy of the company, just simply thrown the thing down and take what they want and walk out? They wouldn't have done it.
And trying to change the policy. And as someone just said, you need to stop sugarcoating. She attacked them, then played victim. She attacked him, then played victim. But I think the point what Anthony is actually saying is, call a spade a spade. You will not do that in other companies or other organizations. And even I saw something that said that we're going to shut down that place if they do not give therapy to the woman, and they do not give money to the community. And I'm trying to say, what's going on here? I'm trying to say, would you I mean, it's getting ridiculous in a bit, in a sense. Garry?
It's ridiculous, yes. I mean, in response to part of what Anthony says, I understand and I agree with him.
Yeah.
I was just addressing the point that it was a female that went into the shop. Now, okay, fine. If it was a man that went in, probably he would not have acted that way at all. Probably he would have acted differently.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter. But the thing about it is this: if we really, and somebody even made a point, I think on TikTok or Instagram just now. TikTok. You see, it's a sensitive area. It's a very sensitive area, and it can be very emotive. But look at it like this: if it was an Asian girl, an Asian individual that went into the shop like that to do that, would he have done that way? I think everybody's asking that. Now, I can't say yes he would or no he wouldn't. Obviously, it would have been a different reaction. If it was a white woman that went into that shop, things probably would have been different. Because again, it's how the cultures react to each other. If it was a white man that went into the shop, into an Asian shop, would that have happened? If it was a black man, would that have happened? If it was an Asian man that went in there, would it have happened? Obviously, we don't know, but obviously there would be different reactions. And it is felt amongst even our own selves at times that when things happen to us as black people, there are reactions that we get that wouldn't necessarily happen to other people. If for instance, look at it like this. I'm going to take it out of the box a bit.
No, but hang on a second. Sorry, Garry. I've got to very quickly. We're moving into a complete different point of discussion here. It doesn't matter if the person's black, white, Asian, or whatever. The individual cannot go into a shop and take what doesn't belong to them. Period. Doesn't matter if you're white, male, or female. You can't go into an establishment and actually take the items because you feel you've been wronged. That's what the individual did, and the person was simply saying, no, you can't leave the store. Now, That's it. I mean, the actual debate is we're having, but actually, in terms of the law, the police came along and then they obviously did what they did. So I think what we're trying to say, or what I'm saying, sorry, is that the individual, doesn't matter if you're black, white, male or female, if you don't like the situation, what the individual should have done, they should have reported it to the police station. They should have said, look, I've gone to this store, I've bought this item, they haven't given me a full refund, etc., and then did it that way, rather than go in there and actually say, well, you know what, I'm going to sort this out myself, and I'm going to take it because I feel that I'm in the right and they're in the wrong.
Yeah, I think
No,
people are
I
commenting.
do.
Hold on, let me just bring in. People are commenting on TikTok at the same time, and someone said, I don't agree walking out with someone's belonging. They don't agree with walking out with someone's belonging, but they do not agree holding on to someone's throat. You know, and if I come in here, there's a thing they call proportionality at the same time, and I believe and I understand that most of these companies are covered by insurance, and really and truly, sometimes it's best to let the people just go. You have CCTV, and police will find them. You know what I mean, Anthony? So, in a way, I personally wouldn't be standing there and trying to hold a lady and hold her down and try to put my hand around her throat. I said, yeah, okay, no problem. We'll find you. Police will find you, and set that as an example. But when it comes on to that bit about assault, battery, and holding on to the person, she can actually press charge. She can actually take an action out, separate and apart from what took place.
Yeah, but if I'm not mistaken, didn't she actually assault the individual first?
Yeah, yes, I saw that. I saw that. But after a while, she was trying to leave. That's the thing. It is like the police. This is a situation. That's why I find the U.S. police so terrible. When someone is trying to run away, they shoot them, and so just let them go. What's the sense of shooting them, trying to kill them? They are no more a threat to you. The lady was trying to leave, so she wasn't going to be a threat to the gentleman. By him pulling her into the place, then she became more of a threat because he held on to her forcefully, and of course she reacted. So in a sense, I would just say, listen, go about your business. You know what I'm trying to say? Go and get your hair done. Police will find you. Yes, she kicked him. Yes, I saw that. Or she hit him or something like that on the CCTV. That's my thing. Yeah.
Well, okay. Well, I'll agree to disagree on this one. I mean, at the end of the day, if we allow anarchy to take place and people can just go in and administer their own rules when they feel that fit. So, you know, like I just said, if I walk into Mercedes tomorrow, test drive one of their cars, decide that I like it, and then I just drive off with it, you know, but because they see me drive off with it, they're going to say, okay, go off with it. You know, we'll put it on CCTV. We've got insurance. This happened in America. There was an individual who he piled up his trolley with goods. He told the shopkeeper, "There's nothing you can do. Just go and claim on your insurance." And in the end, the shopkeeper eventually managed to get some courage and started to hit the guy because the guy said he had a gun. He didn't have a gun. And in fact now, you know, I think if you look on YouTube, you'll probably find it there. It's, you know, the shopkeeper hasn't been arrested. Nothing's happened to him. You know, you can't allow people just to go into shops, any shop, and act with impartiality because they feel they've been wronged. If someone has been wronged, there is a process to follow. There's the police. Go to them and then involve the police so you've got it all in writing. I mean, I think it's dangerous to try and go into stores, and I think it's wrong for individuals to be judge and jury and to actually go and administer their own judgment and actually go into shops and act in a way that could be seen as breaking the law.
Garry, go ahead, and there's very interesting comments coming on here, and but Garry, go ahead, please.
Yeah, it's a pity that I can't see the comments, but I think the problem I may have lost my train of thought. But going off a bit from what Tony has said, I do not disagree in principle, Tony, with what you have said. I am 100% behind you. However, the society in which we are in and the air that is around us, the culture now that is around us to some extent, doesn't always lend to going to the police station to file a report. Now, I understand, for instance, a white man, and I'm sure this has happened not all the time, but I'm sure it's happened a few times, right? I remember, well, let me bring it to myself. I remember some years back, I went into a car showroom to look at a car or to buy something, right? A car, that is. And because I was black, he didn't think that I could have bought that car. I didn't buy the car there. I went somewhere else, bought the car, and brought it back to the showroom, at least for him to see that I had the car that I wanted. Now, if a white man went into the shop to buy the car, he wouldn't have a problem with dealing with him to get the product. I'm just bringing that in to say that because of who we are, and we're having to deal with people, and people dealing with people, some of them are not very good psychologists because they're dealing with people of different temperaments, different ways of thinking, actions. You know, you walk into a shop, you go into a shop to buy a Mercedes, Anthony. I don't know if you've got one. If you have, you know, you that's great. But you went into a showroom, right, and a white man approached you, he may approach you differently than if you are white. And because
Garry, I'll just interject very quickly. That did happen to me actually a few years ago. I did go into a Mercedes dealership to buy a car, and actually the guy actually did think that because I turned up in my jeans and a t-shirt that I didn't have any cash, and he used his unconscious bias to make a decision that I was obviously someone who wasn't really serious about buying the car. And I too then went to another dealership and actually bought the same car. So you know. So this happens. I mean, and I don't think we need to bring those sorts of arguments in, because that's just unconscious bias of people who are ignorant.
But
and
then,
it happens all the time.
Tony, that may have happened in this case. I don't know it. I'm just saying at times that I see I've got a hair foot up here, so I don't need to buy extensions or anything like that. But what I'm saying here is that black people going into some Asian shop, the moment they go in, they are looked at critically, and because we are people who can be sensitive about that. This young lady going into the shop, she wants her money back, or she wants exchange. Okay, fine. The principle was no exchange, no whatever. She should have listened. She should have understood. And I understand what you're saying, Tony. I take what you're saying. But the point is, again, is that if it was a black shop with a black woman coming in there, acting that way, do you think that the reaction that she received, why she reacted the way she did, she would have gotten it? Do you think that way?
Well,
or
to be honest, I'm not going to generalize, but I'm pretty sure if somebody went into a black business and it was a black hair ownership, black or white, Asian or otherwise, and they came in with a product and they simply took it, I'm pretty sure that the owners would think, hang on a minute, they would instantly react. But at the end of the day, I feel it's important that we do try and have some sort of sense of law and order. We can't have people just going in and making their own law up.
No, no, I hear you, Tony. I hear you. I'm just saying, Tony, that it all depends on the attitude of how things were approached. Because I am quite sure that there are some businesses who have that policy, but depending on the customer's attitude when they came in, there is some negotiation that can be had. But if I'm coming up against you, for instance, and my attitude, and I come to you and you say, this is depending on what you how you say it, depending on how you say it to me, or to some of us, it will bring a response that probably that will match your attitude to me. So I think in more ways than one, Tony, and I'm not disagreeing with you at all. The people need to respect businesses. People need to respect the rule of law. I'm not telling anybody to break the law. They must respect people. And it comes down to respect too, anyway. Because if you say to me, as the individual that has hair, and it's your hair shop, and you say to me, Mr. Graham, we do not take refunds or no exchanges. Depending on how you say it, I will then say, I may say to you, please, I need to make an
Yeah.
exchange. Can't you help me? Can we come to some negotiation? Or but if you come
Yeah.
at me,
Yeah.
and I think, Tony, that's what happened in this shop. Now I don't know I haven't seen the full clip. I
Yeah.
cannot say,
Listen.
but there must have been
Yeah.
there
Yeah.
must have been some action that this gentleman gave to this young lady why she reacted the way she did. Even though I'm not saying that she's right. She's not right to have done what she did if that's what she did.
Yes.
But reaction and action always brings a reaction.
Yeah.
Always. And I
Yeah.
think it all depends on how we
Yeah.
approach things.
Gary, and Anthony, we're going to wrap up soon. But listen, one of the things that I picked up on is that I did two videos, and one is near to maybe 14,000, 14K, and one is about 8K, and people are commenting on it. And I was busy today, and I was gleaning at a couple of them, and I'm going to take my popcorn out eventually and really go through and read some of them. But one thing I picked up, and somebody just said it a while ago. Why are black people made this about race? Why do you think it's okay to do that to his business? Why are people coming out and demonstrating in front of the man's business when all that took place was someone who was trying to actually, well, stealing? Actually, that's what, let's call it stealing. It is really stealing, Gary, because at the end of the day, I'm a lawyer. The term in law, which is theft, intention to permanently deprive. That's what she did. She went. The guy said no, and she went to some corner and took it out. Someone alluded to me earlier that apparently she went to the hairdresser, and she went to the hairdresser, and the hairdresser said, "Oh, you got the wrong thing." So she went to the guy, but that doesn't mean to say you change the company policies, you know, and therefore there is a disharmony I noticed between black and Asians in my life, and I'm seeing that is wrong. Something needs to be happening right there, whereby people are cut. Listen, man, I'm seeing some derogatory things going on right there in that live. It's not in that live, on that those two posts, Anthony and Gary. It is gross. It is disgusting. You know what I'm trying to say? People are calling people name. And I'm trying to say, where did we reach to this point? How do we get beyond this? If black people are not happy, or black ladies are not happy to go to Asian stores, well, create your own stores. I mean, if it's an 800 million industry, create your own. Think it, plan it, do it now. What would you advise in a situation like this, Gary? Anthony Francis, you know.
Well, very quickly, because I know we're towards the end of time, but certainly, I don't see this as being a race issue. Clearly, there's obviously been an issue, we've talked about it now, but, as you say, Sylbourne, if someone doesn't like that doesn't like the owner or the business, or doesn't like the way they've conducted themselves in the business, then, you do have the consumer has the power. They have the power to go elsewhere. And as you say, I mean, the Asian businesses, they have been very clever in terms of systematically businesses in black communities, because they know that they actually have products that the black community want, and they're not being represented by other black businesses who are providing the same similar sort of services. So, I think it's incumbent upon other individuals to maybe collectively get together and actually form their own cooperative or their own company, and start actually selling products to their own community. I mean, there's we all hear about the black pound, and keep it in the community. So these Asian businesses, they've seen an opportunity. They see where the business is. They know the community they're serving. They know the black community will want those type of products. They're not going into places that are white communities, because they know that those aren't going to buy the product. So they're being very strategic in where they're putting their businesses. So if us as the black community, we have the power. We are the consumers. We can actually go elsewhere, or we can create our own establishments and actually sell to our own community. So we need to also be clever and smart, like the Asians have done, and actually create our own businesses and our own economy, so that we're not reliant upon others to actually treat us in a way that we don't feel is appropriate. And if we don't like the businesses, because there has been some comments you've mentioned about Asians making reference to blacks or vice versa. Well, okay, well, shop in your own black business outlet if that's what you want to do, and therefore you don't have to actually interface with them. But I personally feel that when you have this segregation of cultures and segregation of people, it doesn't bode well for society as a whole, because it means you create these sort of these individual places, and we have disharmony. We want to create harmony. We want to create harmony and people to work together and feel that we're all contributing as one.
Because I do recall a few years ago there was a Asian shop which I know very well in Catford here, and apparently there was something which was out of date, and it went viral. Someone said that this person did this or blah blah blah, and I did a little research, and I went to talk to him, and I realized that it wasn't his fault. It was the the people who delivered to him, the producer's fault. And I did a video to correct it. He's not my good. I know the guy's a good guy, good Asian guy. I'm trying to say, and I did a video to correct it on behalf of him. But of course, the black community was really going at him in a way to say that he was this and that, and I believe that this needs to be. I don't know how. When people are saying the black community, black community, black community, black people, the black people, I keep saying not all black people think the same. Not all black people vote Labour. Not all black people drive Benz or BMW. You know what I'm trying to say? So I think that's the way forward, really. And the black leaders who are in this particular area, this Afro hair business, need to pull together and create their own and stop making noise. I don't believe in making noise too much. I'm not really a person who demonstrate. You'll never see me in a demonstration, really. But everyone for different folks. Garry, last word, benediction.
No, I mean, I think sometimes we want to talk of ideals, and I think that we are thinking of a time when things are going to just be so idyllic and beautiful and happy, and you lie down amongst the roses, and that won't happen. That's not going to happen. I think that we are seeing polarization happening in our country and in certain of our communities, and it's going to continue to happen. Now, why haven't our communities got the businesses that, let's say, that the Asians have? Not to say that we didn't have it. It's not to say that it was never there. We've always been there. We've always been here. But one of the problems, I think, that we always know, but we seem not to want to say anything about it, is that we don't patronize ourselves, or we don't support each other. Yeah, we help the Asian community to better themselves, but some of us, we find it difficult to do that, to help ourselves. Yeah, we always tell people, start your business and do this and do that, and do everything that we can help out, but we don't do it. But yet when things happen against us, then we want to pick it, and we want to burn down the business and protest.
Yes.
And then it hurts us, because then for us then to buy what we need for ourselves, it's another community that is selling to us,
Yeah.
And then when we put it down, we don't have it for ourselves because nobody in our
Yeah.
community is
Yeah.
selling it.
All
You
right.
know,
Well.
so I think
Mm,
we're gonna have to go back to the drawing board as far as I'm concerned. Look at what is really out there for what it is, and just tackle reality, because things that we sometimes say and sometimes want to see done is not going to
yeah.
happen. It
Yeah.
really is not. So,
Okay.
so
Okay.
that's
Thanks, Gary. We keep going on this forever. But I think I'm gonna jump on TikTok after I got a audience over there on TikTok which might want to go on to into the belly of the whatever. But I just want to
of the
point out
world.
something. I just want to point out something that Jamaica, for argument's sake, Jamaica now have a new high commissioner. Um, from Jamaica to the UK. Alexander Williams appointed High Commissioner to the UK. There's been an acting High Commissioner for a while, so there's a new person there. So let's welcome him when he comes in. I'm going to do an interview with him at some point as he starts and one before he goes as well. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you so much. Garry, respect. Anthony, Mr. Think It Planet Do It Now. And ladies and gentlemen, remember to get your Think and Planet Do It Now. That's a book there. It's ready for everyone. The Go Getter's Guide to Success. What stops you from going from ordinary to ordinary? Anthony, what's the latest with Think It Planet Do It Now? Because you got some, you're actually pushing it in different levels now, isn't it?
Yeah, well, just very quickly, I mean, you'll soon be able to buy your Think It Planet Do It Now mug, pen, mouse mat, t-shirt, hat. It's all coming to a place near you very soon. The Think It Planet Do It Now is going global.
Okay, guys, and you can get the book also on Amazon and everywhere, isn't it, Anthony?
Amazon, Audible, yeah, you can get it everywhere.
And it's very easy. Think It Planet Do It Now, and we're seeing examples of it in all different streams, which we won't say. All right, Anthony, take care of yourself. All the best. Yes.
All right, Anthony. God bless you. Take care. Until next time.
Thank you. Cheers. And Garry, I'm gonna jump over onto Instagram shortly, so we'll talk later. I just want to say one thing before I go, and so I'll let you be. Yeah. Cheers. Thank you. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is a very interesting topic which we ended on just recently or just now in talking about the black hair industry. And I can see a lot of discussions taking place on TikTok. And I might jump over there. I'll only jump over there if I'm going to have a conversation as much as possible, because I believe it's very important to have this conversation. But one of the things that I realize is that, the black hair industry, and this is one for persons in the black hair industry, because we're in a world where representation and empowerment are paramount, and it's crystal clear, for me, from what I'm looking at, why black women must take the reins of the black hair industry. For generations, the hair has been a symbol of resilience, a statement of identity, and a source of cultural pride. Yet for too long, the beauty standards have been dictated by those who neither understand nor appreciate the rich tapestry of black hair. It is time for us to seize control of the narrative, to celebrate the diverse textures and style that define us. By owning the black hair industry, we're not just taking charge of our economic destiny, we're also sending a powerful message that beauty is non-negotiable, our heritage is unapologetic, and our voice will no longer be silenced. This is more than a business endeavor. It's a movement when black women own the black hair industry to ensure that the products are tailored to their unique needs, that standards of beauty are celebrated, and that stories are told authentically. It's about economic empowerment, cultural preservation, and reclaiming the place in the beauty landscape. It's about teaching future generations of black girls that their hair is a crown, not a curse, and that they have the power to shape their own destinies. My wife and my child, they are natural, they go natural hair. The black hair industry is not just an industry, it's a platform for empowerment, a canvas for self expression, and a testament to the enduring beauty of black women. It's a time to take the ownership, to lead the way, and to celebrate the extraordinary beauty that lies within the roots and our roots, you know? And it's not just about wigs, it's about the naturalness. Because I know, like Sal Root Winter, Zandes, few persons who have been doing that. Um, they deal with that. Even myself, bald. My barber sometimes said to me, well, my barber to be in the past, he said to me, I can create some miracles with your head, with your hair as well. So that's it. So anyway, that's my take on this, and I'm all about putting together and working together and somehow to bridge the gap. There's no sense in fighting. As the song says, stop your fighting so early in the morning. Let's see of a way how we can actually, what should I say? Give value. Give value to each other. Give value to the white, give value to the Asian, give value to the black. Let's all give value to each other and to build each other as much as possible. That's my saying. That's my take. Ladies and gentlemen, remember to like and subscribe to the Sylbourne Show on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, and remember Saturday night talk and sip. And this discussion will continue. And I'm going to have a look at that video, the two videos I did. And yes, I'm going to do more videos in particular, and I'm going to have some more conversation with persons involved in this particular area. I may actually do a Zoom private discussion with Asians and Black and so like that, and to really pull together, because I believe that it's so important that we talk, we communicate, and we harmonize. If you agree with me, say amen, and let's crack it.